Welcome everyone, Costin here with a discussion about the Egyptians in Age of Mythology Retold Beta. Let's take a look at what they have on offer in terms of their gods, in terms of their choices. It is worth pointing out that the Egyptians don't have the best army. In point of fact, they have the weakest army out of the three factions currently available, or all of the factions that are available in the game. But they more than make up for this particular fact with their very strong economy. Now, the reason their economy is strong is a combination of god powers, god upgrades, as well as lumber. Specifically, Egyptian structures, by and large, do not cost lumber. So if we look at the Migdal stronghold, it costs gold instead of wood. You actually end up saving a lot of resources in this, and that means you don't need to have the same number of workers on wood as you can on gold and food, which translates into a significant economic advantage. You may have to pay more gold for various things like towers and all that, but for the most part, this is a huge economic benefit. To be certain, you still want to get wood because you do have various upgrades that do require it, but at the same time, when you're looking at the situation with the Egyptians, that is one of the significant economic benefits that they do have. But then there's various god powers. I mean, it's not the plenty vault that Hephaestus gives for the Greeks, but it's still very significant. On top of that, you also have to consider the pharaoh empowering, so you can get buildings faster, you can get more resources faster. You may not get the highest favor. I think the Greeks by far eclipse the other factions that we've seen in the Retold beta so far, but at the same time, you do get passive favor, and you can empower those monuments for various benefits. In point of fact, the way they've changed the Egyptians in Retold is going to favor that. So looking at the major gods, we have Ra. Now, Ra gives you villager durability with skin of the rhino, and he also has rain. Now, rain is going to be useful in particular late game. Now, you can save it for late game, and because it is the tier 1 ability, it is going to be fairly cheap to cast it, recast it. Now, worth pointing out that this does affect all villagers on the map, but you will gain more food if you are playing the Egyptians, because you do have the empowering from the pharaoh. So you combine rain with farming, you get a ton of food, but keep in mind it does affect the opponent's food gathering capability as well. But still, really powerful ability, and you may end up having the best farms in the game. Now, beyond that, his focus, quote-unquote, is on Migdal stronghold units. I'm not quite sure I would agree with that particular assessment, because he's missing Thought as a god in tier 4, which is really the significant benefit for Migdal stronghold units. But he does have priest empowering, and it is not going to be the same level of strength as pharaoh empowering, but it's still 50% in all other aspects and 75% for resource drop-off. So all of your priests can give you a significant benefit. So Ra is really focused on booming in his economy. I guess that's the reason for a focus on Migdal stronghold units. He does get 20% Camel Rider, Chariot Archer, and War Elephant damage. He gets minus 25% monument cost and have 20 more HP for those. And then Pharaoh-empowered monuments can empower nearby buildings. Not quite sure how this is going to work out and what strength of that empowering will be, but certainly Ra does have some fairly significant benefits with respect to that. Isis, who I believe in the previous meta of the game was considered the weakest of the Egyptian gods, may end up being strong in her own right as well. In terms of the god power, she gets prosperity, which makes villagers and trade caravans gather gold faster. So it's your villagers, not globally. This means you can gather a ton of gold very, very quickly when you're using it. And the benefit here is you only really need food and gold for the most part. I mean, yes, as I said, you do need wood for various things. But if you can gather a lot of gold very quickly, you can either then retask those villagers to other things, or you can use that gold to trade for food and whatever wood you might need. You also get Flood of the Nile, which gives you a 1 food trickle rate. Very, very solid there. Then her monuments shield against enemy god powers with 20 range, 40 when empowered. So empower monuments will protect a fairly wide area. I wonder if you could potentially use this in an offensive way. I guess we'll see. Empowered monuments heal nearby units. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's kind of designed. Like, Egyptians have healing inherently, but the ability of just doing it in a range, in a radius, is pretty strong, as well as generating favor 100% faster. Upgrades cost minus 10%, obelisks cost minus 5 gold, and are built 60% faster, and upgrades provide 0.3% HP to human soldiers. So the way I would view Isis is that she does have a lot of power, in particular in terms of the gold economy aspect, but really her main benefit seems to be like focusing on spamming a lot of units. If you look at the gods that she has, she doesn't really have really powerful units for gods. I mean, yes, you talk about, the Sign of Osiris and Phoenix, but to a far lesser extent. But really, her power seems to be spam. Spam, spam, spam. Then we go into Set. Pharaohs can summon animals of Set. Priests can convert wild animals, but converted animals lose 25% of their food. It's a trade-off, because you do get the ability of controlling them, but still, you do lose on that in terms of the amount of food. But probably a net economic benefit in that respect. Plus 5% spearman, axeman, and slinger speed, so raiding capability. Barracks, siege works, and Migdal strongholds cost minus 25% gold, so much cheaper to get siege, or much cheaper to get unit production in general. Up, and, quite crucially, monuments reduce the cost of units in nearby barracks and Migdal stronghold units. Okay, so let me make a differentiation between Set and Isis. Isis is, because of her favor benefit, she's able to spam a lot of myth units quickly, right? Because she gets more favor than the others. Whereas with Set, when you look at him, he's all about the human soldiers of the Egyptians. That's how I'd focus on him. He does get vision, and he also gets clairvoyance, which gives additional charges of vision, cost no favor. So it's gonna be free cost, and it's also gonna have minus 50% cooldown time. So you can get a lot of information on the map. Now, looking at the various minor gods, in tier 2, you either get Bast, Ptah, or Anubis. Let's focus on it. So, Bast gives you the Sphinxes with various upgrades. Sphinxes are decent enough units. They cost gold. Might be more useful to focus on that with Isis because of all the gold you can get. They do cost lumber to get the upgrade, but still pretty decent units. Then you also have a food benefit and a wood benefit with Bast. So if Isis, for instance, is focused heavily on getting gold inherently, Bast is going to give you that extra food benefit. So significant economic benefit over here, basically 10% benefit for that. For both food and wood. With Ptah, you get shifting sands, so you get mobility on the battlefield. You get Wadjets. Wadjets are pretty crap. I'm not gonna lie, like easily one of the worst myth units in the game, in the base game. Not quite sure how they stack up, but I haven't been impressed so far by what they are. Maybe they're a bit better, but still. You also get Axeman benefit, Spearman benefit, and Slinger benefits. So you get some benefits in that, and then you also get farm gold cost and build time. So Ptah might be better in some way when you're building up the farms. Just bear in mind, however, that Bast is going to give you more economic benefits, but you're going to save gold with that particular farm upgrade over there, because having 50% cheaper farms is a pretty damn big deal. And then we look at Anubis. He summons plagues of serpents. Like, serpents, not really strong units. I mean, yes, they can handle some human soldiers decently well, but against any kind of hero, like a single hero can, or a couple of heroes, depending on which race you're talking about, can easily deal with this. So not really that big of a deal. More so for area denial in certain situations, especially like resources, because it will force the enemy to have to send heroes to deal with that. Then you get Anubites. Now, Anubites seems to have been buffed, so you get Feet of the Jungle, so you get HP quite crucially. The problem with Anubites is that the problem with Anubites is that they could do some damage, but the problem is they would die very quickly. So it seems like they're more durable than they used to be. At least this has been my experience so far. I mean, you can see this in the very first mission because you're dealing with some Anubites. Now, I don't think those are upgraded Anubites. Regardless, so you get Guardian Anubites, Serpent Spear, which grants spearmen weapons coated with poison, so that's damage over time. And then, quite crucially, Necropolis. So Necropolis increases the rate at which favor is generated by 25%. So if you're spamming a lot of myth units, which you might want to do it as Isis, then maybe Anubis is better than Bast in that respect. At tier 3, we get Sobek, Sekhmet, and then Nephthys. Okay, so Sobek, well, they seem to have replaced one of the gods for whatever reason. With Sobek, okay. I wonder what they're going to do with Hathor. Maybe they're going to make her a major god when they do expand it, because they might. I mean, there's plenty of choices available. But interesting choice all the same. Regardless, we get Locust Swarm, which just makes it more difficult for an enemy to, gather food. Like, basically, it's going to destroy farms. It's going to kill villagers with Locust Swarm. You get Rocks for harassment capability. You get Laser Crocodiles. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name. I've always struggled with it. I think like anyone who's played Age of Mythology has struggled with that. But basically, Laser Crocodiles. Decent enough ranged unit, can do a good amount of damage. Can be a bit expensive, can die very quickly. So just bear in mind, like, you don't necessarily have tanking capability with that. You also get mercenary benefits, because Egyptians can get mercenaries. They cost gold. They have a limited lifespan. They're decent enough as units, but they're just not going to last for a very, very long time. So just keep that aspect in mind. Then you get, Laser Crocodile upgrade, Sun-Dried Mud Brick. So build time can be a bit longer for Egyptians, but this is going to increase, it's going to decrease the build time. It's going to reduce the gold cost of buildings as well. And this can be useful for defensive purposes. And then you get the Solar Bark, which occasionally summons sea snakes near enemy ships. Your ships are attacking. And then various benefits, so you're going to be able to potentially do more damage with respect to that. With Sekhmet, you get a very strong defense benefit, and this is especially powerful right now because you can use it multiple times. You get the Citadel. So this transforms a town center belonging to you or your ally into a mighty defensive citadel. Now, it feels to me that town centers inherently are far more durable in Age of Mythology Retold than they were before. So citadels might just be very difficult to take down. Obviously, Siege will do it, but this gives you so much flexibility in a campaign because... in a battle, because if you can use it multiple times, then you can put it in forward positions, and of course use the initial one if the enemy is raiding you, but put them in forward positions and make it difficult for the enemy to break through that. You get Scarabs, which are slow siege units, but can take quite a bit of damage, can do quite a lot of siege damage. They're not going to be great in a battle. They're siege engines. They're not good against enemy soldiers. Just worth pointing that out. And together with that, you also get various various other upgrades. So you get Slinger benefits, Chariot Archer benefits, Myth unit 20% of all damage from all action swords units of Vampiric Aura ability, which, pretty damn useful with Scarabs. And also allows you to construct catapults early. So she's all about siege defense, siege attack. Like, this is pretty damn strong. Being able to get catapults, which are tier 4 unit in general, at tier 3 is pretty damn strong. And also she's increasing the damage that your siege also does. So really, really solid in that respect, though. Though Isis doesn't have her. It would be nice if Isis had her, I'm not gonna lie. You do get Nephthys, or Nephthys, whatever, the goddess of night and death. She benefits pharaohs and priests. You get the Ancestors ability. This is a particularly useful ability, like the units you spawn via land or sea, pretty solid enough. You get Scorpions. Scorpion Mans, I mean, you can upgrade them. I believe you can, or I'm wrong. No, you can't. Regardless, then. So Scorpion Men are decent enough units, but you can't upgrade them. Just not necessarily the best. Like, I prefer Sphinxes, personally. But, I mean, decent enough, and they do cost lumber, so you can work with that. She compensates you gold when your soldiers get killed. So for heroes or human soldiers, not myth units. She also increases the healing rate of pharaohs and priests, and lower the cost of priests, so you can spam priests if you're dealing with masses of myth units. And then she increases pharaoh and priest damage against myth units, and also to all action. Okay, so it's just that benefit. All right, fair enough. So it's just all kinds of benefits against myth units for pharaohs and priests, because that's their role. And she occasionally, this is pretty damn strong, she occasionally summons Leviathans to take place of war barges that you lose in battle. Now, Leviathans aren't strong units, necessarily in terms of the damage they're dealing, but they are transports, and they're quite durable, or they used to be quite very durable. And then finally at tier 4, we get Osiris, we get Horus, and we get Vlad. So with Osiris, you get the son of Osiris, and geez, like this guy can do so much damage, but it used to be you couldn't heal him. Just bear that in mind. Still very strong, and reusability, yeah, pretty damn powerful. You get mummies, as well as various pharaoh benefits as well. Mummies, I never thought that they were particularly great units. They might have been, like their special ability might have been nerfed. Their power might have been buffed. You also get Camel Rider benefits, so hit point speed, melee attack damage, and he also creates, also allows your realm to be mandated by 2 pharaohs instead of 1, and then you can upgrade your mummies to mummy viziers as well. So 20% HP, range attack damage, so yeah, just a bit wrong on mummy upgrades right there. So a Tef crown. So you get more powerful mummies than I think you had before, but I think their special ability has been nerfed, or the damage has been capped. Regardless, then you have Horus, the god of vengeance. You get Tornado. This is a good ability in a siege. Not so great in a battlefield, because it's not really going to do a ton of damage, but it is going to disable enemy units, also your own, so be careful about that. Avengers, really strong myth unit for the Egyptians. Not necessarily the highest durability, but huge amount of damage. And you also increase your Axeman capability, Vampire Kara. It seems like they've added a lot of Vampire Kara. Spearman capability, and the greatest of 50. So your Horus appoints military commanders, increasing infantry HP and speed. So 30% infantry HP, 10% infantry speed. So if you're spamming a lot of infantry as a set, might be really, really good in that respect. And then we have Thought. It's gonna be difficult to counter Thought, really, to... like, let me explain this. If you can pick Thought, it was really a case in a long game. Like in a short campaign, you know, you can go with Osiris or you can go with Horus. Like Osiris, you know, just that benefit once you get to tier 4. But in long game, the meteor power, like even in a short game situation, like a meteor is pretty damn fucking strong. Phoenix is not so much. I think they kind of nerfed Valley of Kings, because what Valley of Kings used to do is that it basically allowed you to instantly train Migdal Stronghold units. Now you have a chance where, you know, you're empowering to do a double construction. Okay, of units. So, in mind, you make those stronghold units once you get the upgrades to increase speed do train relatively fast anyway, but now you can get double units. And on top of that, there's more. You get the Book of Thought, which gives you a 10% economic benefit, flat out. Wood, food, gold. And then you get War Elephant benefits, and yeah, the tooltip a bit here. But it's a population cost, right there. But gold cost, so it's reducing population by 1. It's making them stronger, cheaper, reducing their population cost. So Thought, this is the reason like Thought is top tier, like S tier, as a minor god, because he really buffs the Migdol stronghold units in a significant fashion. Like, you can spam them. You used to be able to spam them. Now, obviously, you need the economy to support that. But, like, if you're playing a very long campaign where it matters, that was OPSL. Now, it's reduced, so you won't just instantly construct stuff with the Valley of Kings. But still, you do get some very strong benefits. And look, Meteor is a game-changing game-changing ability, because it's strong against units and it's strong against buildings as well. Like, abilities, a lot of abilities, like you think Hera's Lightning Storm, she does a lot of damage to units, but not so much against buildings. Earthquake does a lot of damage to buildings, and Tornado as well, but not so much against units. Meteor obliterates armies and obliterates buildings. So really strong. Not quite as accurate, sure, but I guess we'll have to see how the balancing plays out to that. Oh, final note. Why do I feel like I'm looking at Natalie Portman when I'm looking at Isis? Just a thought over there. Let me know what you guys think. Costin signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications. Based on what I've read, it seems like the Egyptians may be a bit too strong. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.